What's up, y'all? Y'all know who it is. You know what it is. Your boy JP the Install Guy here to make your install life just a little bit easier. Today we have a 2008 Jeep Wrangler. I'm gonna show you how to take this radio out, install your own, and add a backup camera if you have that fifth wheel on the back. If you're into those type of videos, please consider subscribing, because these are the type of things that we do here: car audio tutorials, radio removals, Q&As, anything car audio install related. That's what the channel is about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we want to do is we want to take this top off to take the radio out. Take your panel removal tool down here at the bottom, pop that off on both sides. This thing slides to the front once you take that tab off, and then you can just kind of set that right there. Next we have two 7mm screws. Let's take those out. After the 7mm screws are out, we just pop off the clips. Alright, there's no need to take it off all the way because this is as far as that we actually need it. If you did want to take it off, there's a, well, let's go ahead and take it off. Just so you know how to do it. Take your pen removal tool. And that one right there, pop that clip, and then that goes off. And then we have two more 7mm screws, one on this side and one on that side. That will remove the entire panel. Got that screw, got that pop at that clip, both those clips. All right, so now it's all the way down. Next, you have four 7mm screws holding the radio in. Let's take those out. And now that we have all those screws out, we are able to pull the radio out, and we're gonna disconnect the harness. So we're gonna disconnect the harness in the back and the antenna. Alright guys, so now that we have the radio out, let's go ahead and get that fifth wheel off. This is the fifth wheel. It's usually only held in by 3 lug nuts. These are a 17mm lug nut. So I got my 17mm and my good Milwaukee drill here. We're gonna go ahead and take those out. Alright, have those 3 out. Oh, let's go ahead and remove the wheel. Oh, we're just gonna set it down right there, and it leaves us with this. So the camera that we're actually using is one by iBeam, and I really like this one because this just goes over those spokes back in the back to where we can put our lug nuts back on, and then you have this part that sticks out in front of the sticks out of the rim, and it is adjustable because we can go up, lower, higher, whatever height that we actually need in order for this to fit. So it's going to come with your cable that gets ran to the front and your camera. First thing you want to do is you want to take this, stick it down there in that hole, and then pull it out the back. Now with this, it has these little snap ring that's in it, so when we come in, we're able to snap it. Now I don't want to snap this thing in for 2 reasons. For one, I usually only do this towards the end of the install, but 2, we don't know what's the top and what's the bottom, so I would hate for you to snap that in and then try to rotate it and your camera image is upside down. So we're just going to have that pulled through. We'll figure out right side up, then we'll snap it in. So now we're going to take it and just slide it over just like that, and then we're going to take our wire, run it through the back part right here, and you have this little side right there to where we can pull it out as long as this thing focuses. So now this piece, we can cut a little notch in here and go through that grommet so it mimics the factory as much as possible, and we'll be good to go. I'll probably take a little bit up just so I can zip tie that right there, and then it'll give us a little bit of slack. All right, so since I am doing this by myself, what I did is I put this on here. I had a zip tie that I tied right here, so it kind of keeps that camera from actually falling off, so I can put this tire on. So I'm sorry I'm not gonna be able to actually show this part because this tire is freaking heavy and I'm gonna have to put this on, but that is the technique that I am using to keep that on. And it's actually working pretty good because I'm putting some pressure on here and it's not going anywhere, and that should keep that on just enough for me to get this tire on. All right guys, so this is my moment to be truthful with y'all. That absolutely sucked. I can't explain to y'all how hard that was trying to maneuver this tire. It's not that it was heavy, it was just awkward trying to maneuver this. So if you can do it with two people, do it with two people. But now that we're here, I was able to get this one on first and kind of twist it. Now, I want you to notice that this does look like it's a little close here and it's crooked, but the reason it has those little holes kind of like that is that we can actually adjust it. So what I'll do is I actually grab it by the neck of the camera, and you see how we can kind of adjust it like that. So even though it's not going to be perfectly centered through the spoke, because this is a custom wheel, you can go ahead and straighten it up so you can have a centered video. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull this to the top like that, and then we're going to go ahead and put our other two lug nuts in, and then we're all inside the car. All right guys, so the next thing that I did, just to let you know what the next step was once we actually had this mounted, I cut the zip tie that I had holding on there just to keep this stable, and then I went ahead and added some split loom just so it looks better. It went down through the back side right here. I came in, went down, and came out the side just like the factory wiring, and that got us to this point right here. So there you can see the split loom. You can see the split loom with the camera wire coming up to this point, and we just loomed it up here so it looks nice and neat. It looks factory. We are professionals. Now, even though we can take this grommet out, we're probably going to end up slicing just a small little hole in between the middle of the rubber. We need to get in on the other side so we know where the wire comes out of. So we went on ahead and opened up the door. You're gonna have this little plastic part, and it's gonna have tabs at the clips at the bottom. Just want to pop those clips first. And that's going to be that piece. Now the reason you don't want to do it at the top is because these just kind of go in at the top and click in at the bottom. If you end up doing that, just pulling it from the top, you're going to end up breaking those clips, and then it's not going to look right when it goes back on. You want to do the same thing right here. Get behind there, pop those off, both sides. And now you can see right here, now you can see where our hole is at. That's where the grommet is coming through. So I went on ahead and actually cut me a small little slit on the inside of the side closest to this part. This part right here is really, really thick. So I just cut it in the side, and then it's gonna go in like that. So we're gonna take our camera wire, poke it in the hole, and just push all this stuff in there. Because we're going to grab it from the other side, push our grommet back in, and now that looks good. Come in on this side, and that's where our camera wire is at. Now, you want to take the camera wire, go from the back side, and come out of this hole at the top. All right, so now you got it all on the inside. You got the other side of your camera actually hooked up, and yeah, we're gonna zip tie along the factory wiring, but the biggest thing is, how do we get it from here to here, which is actually inside the Jeep? Now, we can go by this a couple ways. If I had a lot of time, I would actually find me a little snake tool, go in through the inside here, and then come in out all the way over there. If you didn't want to come out all the way at the end, you could just cut a little hole in the cloth right here to go out of. You just got to be careful on cutting the wires that's actually inside the cloth, but I'm going to show you a easier way, and a way that it can still look clean without doing any of that. So at first we use some split loom for the outside. This right here is actually some Tech Flex. It's like a little braided sleeve. I'm gonna use 1/2 inch, and if you can tell, if you can see, this actually kind of mimics this just a little bit. So we're only gonna use a little bit of it, and the reason I wanted to use half is because I want to go over the RCA cable, and I'll show you what I mean here in a bit. All right, so here we got our RCA cable and we have our Tech Flex. If you squeeze this in, remember those Chinese finger traps or whatever? It's kind of the same thing. If I squeeze it, it opens up wide enough to where I can stick this RCA in there. Then I can just kind of feed it through. And it's just gonna keep going down kind of like a little snake. So we're gonna do that till I reach the end of the piece that I cut. So now that I have it on this end of the RCA, I can just slide the rest of the cable right on through. All right, so I went ahead and slid it all the way down, and when I got to this point, I took some electrical tape and just kind of wrapped it up. That way it's gonna be, it'll be nice and sealed here, but also it'll hold it in place. Did that on both sides. Now, as you can see, I just went ahead and started zip tying it along this factory wiring, and even though the little zip tie part is on this side, I didn't really care because this is gonna be covered up. Now, on the part that you may see when you open up the door, I put the zip tie, I'm gonna call it a little knot. I put that part on the back. That way it just kind of looks, you know what I'm saying, just a little bit more clean. And then of course all this is gonna hide right behind that carpet, and then we're gonna run this cable, try to zip tie it along the factory wiring as much as possible all the way to the front. So let's go ahead and cut these off first. So look at that with that cover back on. Don't that look nice? All right, so now that we got that looking good, I want to talk about this part. So I went ahead and just grounded it in the back. It's going to come with a black and a red wire, and this is to actually power the camera. But what I want you to notice is that on the other side of the RCA jack, you're going to have a red wire right here. They do this because you can take this black and red, ground it in the back, and then tap into the tail light, the reverse light, and then that way when you run your RCA, this right here will go to the radio to flip the screen. And basically this red wire and that red wire is the exact same thing. So since that is the same thing, instead of trying to extend the black wire right here, I'm going to go ahead and ground it in the back, and our wire harness for our radio is going to provide us with a 12-volt reverse. So I'm just going to hook that up to this wire so it can get power. Now we're going to take the rest of our wire, run it behind the carpet, run zip ties all along, because this part is easy. One thing I love about Jeep Wranglers is that you can just fold all the stuff back from the back to the front. Probably no need to see this part, so I'm just going to go ahead and run it up on the carpet all the way to the front. So running the wire is actually pretty simple. Like I say, you just fold this back, you got that factory wiring right there, and you just want to zip tie along the factory wiring, lift up these little panels like this, and then the carpet tucks back, and you can literally just sit here and tucked it all the way here until I got to this point. When I got to this point, I actually lifted that up and got that wire tucked up under past to about right here. That way I can put that back in. Now I'm literally just doing the same thing. Here's the wire. I've tucked it to where you have gotten to this point right here. This is at the front. These two little things, they just screw off, and that's what's actually holding the carpet onto this, because we want to get behind the carpet. So we want to fold that carpet back, come behind here. There's other ways you can do it. Do whatever's comfortable for you. So now we're officially under the carpet right here at the dash, and I'm going to take me a little fish tool, probably fish it down from the top to go down this way. Now this is just a wire pulling tool that I've used a long time, so long that both of my tips are actually broken, but I just stuck it down from the top, from inside of the CD player hole. Stuck it down there, and it is running down this side, going down here, and that way we can just pull this from the top. All right, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and actually get our radio inside that dash kit and get it wired up. All right, now that's what it looks like with the dash kit on. And you're probably thinking, why didn't I show you how to put that on? Because It is literally just 2 brackets. When you buy the kit, it's gonna come with 2 brackets. You take 2 screws, put one on the left. You take 2 screws, put one on the right, and that is literally the dash kit. It's literally just 2 trim pieces that's taking up the space that the radio does not take up, so it looks flush inside the dash. Now, if it's your first time tuning into the channel, you're probably wondering why didn't I go over the wiring? Well, here at this channel, I like to keep things short, sweet, straight to the point, and I have over 200 different radio uninstalled and reinstall videos, and it would take too much time to go over the wiring every single time. But I didn't forget about y'all. What I did is I actually made one video showing you guys how to wire up a CD player. I go over what these individual wire colors mean. I go over different types of connections. Yes, every vehicle is different, but as long as you know what these wire colors mean and you buy the harness that you need, then you will know how to wire up a radio. That way, people who already know that, who already know how to wire a radio up, you get what you need in the radio removal and the install, and the people who don't know, you get that secondary source. Now, this one did use the pack module, the RP4CH11. I do have a video on how to install that as well. I have tons of stuff, resources for you guys in the how-to playlist that's over there in those cards in the corner, and I will link the ones specifically that pertains to this vehicle in the description along with the products. Now, if you did cut this harness, or let's just say you bought this car used and you need to know what the factory wire colors are, I give that type of information to all my Patreon users. They go the extra mile and support me in the channel, so I go the extra mile and to help them with things that I don't always talk about on YouTube. So Patreon is the platform that I've chosen to actually give you guys more in-depth one-on-one help and trainings and stuff like that. Now, one thing that I will say is that this is the backup camera RCA that I was telling you about with that red wire that comes off of it, and we have that wire tied on to this purple with white stripe and this green. So the green wire that's coming from our RP4CH11 is our 12-volt reverse. This purple with the white stripe is going to the radio. That's the reverse trigger or the reverse input. So when I put this car in reverse, this is going to provide 12 volts, which will power our camera through the red wire and switch this over to the video that we need with that purple with white stripe. Now let's get this thing pushed in so you guys can see what it looks like. So we're gonna go ahead and start twisting this camera like this. Let's try to get it lined up. That's still upside down? Yeah. All right. That's right. And this is the camera while we got it pushed back in. Very simple, just twist it. Make sure that you got it right side up and just push it on in. It snaps right in. All right, you guys, that's what it looks like. Let's go ahead and check that backup camera. Boom, we got the backup camera looking good. Hit that little button at the top that takes away the reverse lines, because the lines are actually in the radio and not this camera. So that's pretty much it, man. If you guys found any type of value in this video, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment if you want to. Product links are in the description, and the Patreon link is also in the description. And if you don't want to be tied down to anything full time, but this video still brought you some value and you still want to support, there is that little heart right up under that says thanks. Not asking anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, but what you do is very much so appreciated, man. So this is your boy JP signing out. Till next time, I'll catch y'all at the next car. Y'all have a blessed day.